What's actually healthy despite most people thinking it's not? Story 1. Sleeping all day when you're exhausted. As my trainer says, if you're actually falling asleep, you clearly needed it. Reply 1. I really like the reading test. If I get really sleepy while reading, then I take a nap because I needed the rest. If I'm not sleep deprived, then I have no issues staying up while reading a book during the day. So, most times when I'm debating taking a nap, I'll just relax and read and see what happens. Reply 2. That's a genius low-pressure way to check in with your body. Book doubles as entertainment and a sleep diagnostic tool. Reply 3. By that metric, I must be chronically exhausted. I can't read to save my life anymore. I have so many books that I want to get through, but as soon as I start on one, no matter what time of day it is, I'm asleep. I hate it. Reply 4. What I hear is that sleeping too much isn't necessarily bad for you, but if it's a lot more than normal, it may be a symptom of something else that's wrong with you. Reply 5. I don't think I've ever had a time in my life I couldn't fall asleep. I'm not even a generally sleepy person, but give me something even remotely comfortable to lay/lean on, and I can fall asleep in a minute or two. Story 2. Put baby on the floor. Babies don't always need to be in a bouncer, swing, jumper, walker, rocker, chair, etc. They do great on the floor in a safe space. Reply 1. Just don't put them in the corner. I saw this instructional dance video from the 80s where they cautioned us that nobody puts baby in a corner. Reply 2. I remember a few years ago this pic went viral. It showed a woman sitting on a seat in an airport looking at her phone while her baby laid on a blanket on the floor. So much vitriol was hurled at her. So unnecessary. The baby even had a toy in its hand. Babies need floor time, and they need to learn independent play. Reply 3. God forbid a woman get a break. Reply 4. When my kids were that small, I'd lay on the floor next to them. They loved crawling over daddy, getting tickles and lovin's, and I loved their drool-covered kisses. Man, I wish I could relive those moments. Reply 5. I miss when I could just lay a baby on the floor and they'd still be there when I got back. Crap hits the fan once they become mobile. So much easier to grab a snack or use the toilet when you can just set them down. Reply 6. My 3-month-old actively demands being on the floor. He will squirm and moan until he's placed on his yoga mat and can start doing his workout. He started with moving only his left leg, then the right one, and then the arms. By now, he's training his core muscles, trying to sit up and turn from one side to another. It's like a built-in training program he knows he has to follow, and he gets really stressed out if he can't get his exercise in. Story 3. Popcorn. Without all the artificial butter flavorings and low-quality oils, of course. Popcorn is a whole grain and super high in fiber. As far as snacks go, it's about as good as it gets. Reply 1. This is a good one. In addition to the fiber, if you get popcorn that isn't soaked in butter, it's also very high volume for the amount of calories. If you measure out something like Smart Pop popcorn compared with regular chips, you can eat way more of the popcorn for the same calories. Edit. Some people are trying to argue about the butter and claiming it's healthy and that we shouldn't avoid fats. I'm not here to debate whether or not butter is healthy, and I 100% agree with not avoiding fats because we need them to survive. However, 95% of people are getting enough fats from their diets, and more is not better. Fats are very calorically dense, and in the context of a snack being eating in addition to meals, more just becomes excess calories more likely to put you in a caloric surplus, which will make you fat in any form. If you want to snack on something that's going to put you at less risk of a caloric surplus, lower fat popcorn is a way to do that because of the volume and time it will take you to eat the same calories as chips or popcorn that does have a lot of butter added. However, if you can afford the extra calories, go ahead and add the butter. Obesity statistics suggest that this isn't the case for most people though. Reply 2. I grew up on air-popped popcorn and now we have one in our house. You can get decent ones for around $20 and we make it all the time. Story 4. Being around dirt, especially for kids. Exposure to a natural, somewhat dirty environment helps your immune system develop properly, which in turn helps reduce the chance of developing allergies or immune system diseases, and even reduces some mental health issues. Citation. Reply. 1. Agreed. People will let their kids touch everything in a store without a second thought, but not let them touch a speck of dirt, even though you're way more likely to get sick from other humans. Humans evolved touching dirt. It's good for us. Reply 2. Tell the same thing to my friends who freak out if I drink tap water. I tell them their immune systems won't be able to keep up once Armageddon hits, and there is no bottled water. Story 5. It is really healthy to process some emotions and thoughts on your own. I know I'm on Reddit saying that, so that's likely an unpopular opinion. But the people who have the most peace and clarity are people who can sort, experience, sit in, and evaluate their feelings without having to put it out to other people for other people to tell them what to think, feel, and do. Reply 1. That's called introspection, and it is a skill that basically anyone can learn. Most choose not to because then they have to face themselves, and that's just the worst thing ever for too many. After all, there's a good chance that their worst critics will be proven correct, and that just cannot be allowed. Reply 2. I'm very introspective. Unfortunately, I'm also very mentally ill, so I'll start to process things, all going well, then warped thoughts start to come in, I look at them and go, mental illness at it again. And the thoughts are like, yeah, but as it turns out, we're in charge here. Edit. These days, I can overpower the intrusive/warped thoughts in my conscious mind about 75% of the time, thanks to medication. But I'm much less successful getting rid of them in my subconscious. If you ask me questions about how I see myself and I answered immediately without letting myself think, the answers would be overwhelmingly negative. I'm in the process of looking for a new therapist. I've been in therapy before but just moved, which I think will help. Reply 3. My journey seems to be almost exactly the opposite of yours. In my younger days, I was far more introspective, but over time I've learned how much the simple act of talking about my feelings with my wife, or with trusted friends or family, can help clarify my feelings. My friends and family are able to provide support and much-needed reality checks as necessary, and it's often necessary, but the benefit also comes from the very act of discussing it. I've also learned that often when I try to process emotions on my own, I'm apt to ruminate and fall into unhealthy patterns. I guess I just question how healthy it is to sit around thinking about myself too much. It never seems to turn out that well for me and turns me into a more lonely, self-absorbed, and ultimately selfish person. Story 6. Frozen vegetables. It's seen as cheap and not as good as fresh, when in fact, it's almost always healthier than fresh vegetables. Reply 1. Especially since frozen veggies are better than no veggies. I'm always baffled when someone says they don't eat frozen veggies because it's not good for you, but then make food that completely neglects any veggies. Reply 2. Exactly. I only eat frozen veggies because I am busy as EFF and always end up letting fresh veggies go bad when I buy a bunch of different types. But with frozen veggies, I eat multiple portions of varied vegetables every single day. Way healthier than someone not eating veggies or only eating a single type of fresh veggies for the day because that's all they have fresh. There is so much elitism in the fitness space. My giant, cheap Walmart bags of mixed frozen veggies are healthier than whatever crazy, overpriced greens powder some stuck-up Instagram fitness influencer is trying to sell you. Reply 3. This is something that has changed over time. Frozen vegetables used to be worse than fresh vegetables because they were slowly frozen, which degraded them. But these days, the vegetables are snap frozen, which preserves them in a much better state. Personally, most of the vegetables that I eat these days are frozen. It is just so much more convenient to have a freezer full of frozen vegetables that I know will last for months over having to constantly buy fresh vegetables, and being forced to use them before they go bad, even if they don't go with what I plan to cook. Story 7. Salt. It's been demonized by the health industry for years, but it is wildly necessary for damn near everything in your body. Reply 1. My girlfriend's workout partner got in serious trouble because she put herself on an ultra-low sodium diet for years. Like no salt at all if she could help it, and she worked out crazy hard every day. Turns out if you keep that up long enough, it messes your body up pretty bad. Reply 2. One of the things that Gatorade and other sports drinks replace is actually salt. It's also why drinking too much water is dangerous. Your body does need a certain amount of salt. Reply 3. Do you know what one of the diagnostic symptoms of too much water is? A sense of impending doom. Only know that because I had the sense of impending doom for a heart condition. And when I mentioned to my doc that I knew something was wrong, he told me that that was an actual medical definition. I guess once you hit critical mass with water, the same thing happens. Story 8. Having fat in your body. Not an excessive amount though, but you don't need to be ripped with a completely flat stomach to be healthy. Story 9. Being angry. It's as valid an emotion as any, and sometimes you just need to be angry and let it out. Reacting in anger is never a good thing though. Reply 1. Mr. Rogers had Yo-Yoma on and asked him if there was a piece he played when he was angry. He played a part of one of the Shostakovich cello concertos. It was such a cool and natural way to talk about healthy anger to kids. Stuck with me. Reply 2. We need more PSAs for men regarding this emotion. Anger is valid. What you do with it matters. Punching? Screaming? Not ideal. Yelling, "I am so angry!" and walking away? Very good and normal. Story 10. Full-fat Greek-style yogurt. Better nutrition, it will leave you feeling replete if you have it for breakfast. With a few berries, you won't fancy a biscuit for 11s. Reply 1. Can only ever buy the full-fat yogurts. I had one last night, a 500 green pot. All the light versions are utter garbage. The full-fat ones are thick and creamy and heaven to eat. Story 11. I think the takeaway here is everything in moderation. And that is just annoying to hear as an adult as it was in PE when they hammered it into my head. Story 12. To a certain degree, fat. There was a misunderstanding that if there's fat in your food and drink, then it will go straight to your waist if you eat it. Not true. This gave birth to all these low-fat foods where they took the fat out and replaced it with sugar, which the body will just convert to fat. So they replace the sugar with sugar substitute, which again just primes your body to absorb any real sugars you do eat and turn them to fat. Yeah, it's true there are good and bad fats, but you're generally better off eating the food with fats than any of the low-fat alternatives. Story 13. Have sympathy for others just because someone needs the help. And extra leg up doesn't mean you are being taken advantage of. Story 14. Saying no to children and letting them feel sadness sometimes so they can appreciate joy eventually. My mother-in-law grandchildren are so spoiled that nothing can make them happy. They are completely self-absorbed and never say a thank you. They can get absolutely anything they want, anytime. I've never seen children like that, and I believe, while she has good intentions, this might be harmful later. Story 15. Giving your body a chance to fight off minor illnesses before turning immediately to antibiotics/virals. Like, no, don't let that dog bite fester your arm right off your shoulder, but if you can walk through the sinus infection with a bottle of NyQuil, do that. Story 16. Silence, just silence. Take it in, relax, give your ears a well-deserved rest. But F you if you suffer from tinnitus, no rest for you. Story 17. Emotions. Not that people don't find them healthy, I guess. But they don't normalize and acknowledge emotions, and it can lead to being more unhealthy than talking to/expressing emotions.
Thanks for watching until the end. If you have a similar story to these that you want to share with us, please leave it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave us a like and subscribe. For more videos like this one right now, please stop by our channel. Thanks again, and see you next time.